Hi, and welcome to Changemakers with Eleanor, the podcast where we dive into the lives and lessons of those who are making a difference. I'm your host, Eleanor Baggaley, and in each episode we bring you inspiring stories from leaders, coaches, and people who are not just dreaming of change, but making it happen. Whether they're penning their first book, working in their community, or leading a revolution in their industry, you'll get a first-hand look at how they're shaping the world. If you're looking to leave a mark or simply love a good story about modern-day heroes, you've come to the right place. Here, we're all about changing the world, whether that's one person's world or the world in general. So grab your notebook or just a comfortable seat and let's explore these fascinating journeys together. Don't forget to subscribe wherever you get your podcasts to ensure you never miss an episode. Let's go change the world together. So in this week's episode, I am delighted to invite Danielle Kepics onto the show. So Danielle, would you like to tell us a little bit about yourself, where you are and what it is that you do?
Sure. Yeah. Thanks so much for having me. This is my first UK. You're in the UK, correct? Show. So I'm excited about that. As you mentioned, my name is Danielle Kepics. I live in the States, as they like to say. I live in Utah specifically. I'm a physician assistant by trade. So basically, I have prescriptive authority in the United States. So I can write prescriptions for people, help them with their health. I take much more of a functional or holistic approach. So I like to say I'm a little bit of everything all rolled into one. I have been a licensed physician assistant for 12 years. Prior to that, I was a mental health therapist. And before that, I was a personal trainer. So when women work with me, they get a little bit of everything, like I said, all rolled into one. And basically what I do is I help women solve problems that conventional or traditional doctors have told them is normal, or they haven't been able to find a resolution for. And I help them reduce their symptoms by 50% in 30 to 60 days and get resolution within 6 months. So things like period problems, gut health, bloating, diarrhea, constipation, fatigue issues are huge. That type of thing are really what I specialize in helping women with.
I feel like I need you on my shoulder for like my entire life. I'm also noticing kind of like when you said, am I in the UK? Like very much so. I've got a jumper on right now. You're clearly
Yeah,
in much
I'm in
nicer
the
weather
desert.
than we're having. Oh gosh, yeah, it was
So hot already. Like if you have friends in the southwest of the United States, like pray for us. We are unwell and we are unhappy with the heat. It was not even spring yet. It was, I want to say, the day before spring technically hit on March 20th. We hit 96 degrees.
wow.
And I was like, this is
Okay.
just, I am unwell about it. Like it gets to be a lot in the summer. You feel like when you walk outside, you're just being like walking through your oven at 400 degrees. It's really intense here. So
Well, we've had the opposite. It was
yeah.
lovely, and then it's now gone really. I've pulled my winter coat back out, and I've been like big padded coat on again today, so it's gone freezing. So I wish I had a little bit of your heat.
Yeah, you got fake spring at some point.
Oh yes, very much so. So with all of everything that you've kind of said about what you do, why do you class yourself as a change maker?
So I left my job in conventional medicine a couple of years ago. Initially went to do a course, a certification called fertility awareness educator. So I got certified as a fertility awareness educator. And for people who don't know what that is, it means that I help women naturally prevent pregnancy or achieve pregnancy without using oral contraceptives, IUDs, having surgery, anything that's invasive or shuts down ovulation. It is 98.6% effective, which is as effective as the birth control pill when it is performed correctly and you learn it correctly, right? So I went to do this and I tried to bring it to my conventional medicine office that I was working in, and they didn't like it. And so where this goes is that I didn't care. And I really, really pounded the pavement hard. And anyways, I got nowhere with it. So I decided to leave my job because I was like, you know what, if I cannot help women the way that I know that they need to be helped, and God forbid, I was just trying to teach women about their bodies, how their menstrual cycle works, it was really not received well. I really met rubber to the road and said, I'm out of here. I will walk out of here permanently. And about 8 months later, I did that. I left conventional medicine. I started my own business. I have no background in business. And within my first month, my books were full. So I have taken a very, very different approach because I knew in my heart that like that's what was authentic to me, and this is the way that women needed to be helped. And I feel as though people who create change are the black sheep, right? They're going to go against the grain, and that's that.
Yeah.
I mean, think on a big scale, right? Like Martin Luther King, Rosa Parks, like that type of thing. Like obviously, what I'm doing is not maybe on that scale, but there is a huge movement of women who do what I do making that difference, and I knew that I had to be a part of it. And so I've been running my holistic health coaching business for 3 years now, and I'll be running a hormone replacement therapy clinic in Utah, so it's Utah residents only. uh, it's technically up and running right now, and I have a practitioner facing business with my registered dietitian best friend, where we help mentor other doctors, nurses, our registered dietitians, like anyone really in the healthcare realm. So it's been quite a ride, and yeah, that's kind of my big claim to fame, is like creating change, like doing it on my terms.
And I think, like, although you said kind of you're not at the levels of Martin Luther King and Rosa Parks and things like that, but I mean, I always say kind of my mission in life is to change the world. And even if you're changing the world for one person, that is like still a massive kind
Totally.
of impact that you have had. And I think that is really important. I mean, obviously, before we started recording, I said kind of over here in the UK, talking about kind of menopause and perimenopause is a really hot topic of conversation. And I think a Facebook group where it's got people from the UK and the states in there, and it's quite interesting actually the differences and what's there does seem to be kind of more things available in the states than there is over here, and it's I feel like it's in the early stages of being talked about here, and companies are starting to kind of put policies in place and things like that. But I think it is a really important development and change. And I think it is what you're doing. I mean, ultimately, well, I don't want to go into kind of man bashing, but most of the problems that arrive in the world, it's because men are trying to run things, and actually, what you need is more of a female touch. And actually, we do need to have more understanding about what's happening with females and the female body in order to be able to create a world that is going to thrive. So, it absolutely like do not underestimate what it is you are doing. I think it is really crucial because the more that women can feel empowered by understanding themselves, it means that they can go out there and actually it's enabling other women to then have that kind of knock-on effect of making change in other areas as well, isn't it?
Yeah. I'm really, one of the things that I'm most proactive about is helping women how to advocate for themselves at their physician office as well, because a number of people that I see also have a local physician that they're working with as well, and they're told no for these things and they won't work them up for that, and they're telling them that yes, this is an endo specialist, and it's clearly not. Like, I can look at the website and go, this person has no idea what minimally invasive GYN surgery is, and a lot of women want to say that, or people out there in general will say, oh, women's health gets so much. It doesn't. Like, endometriosis takes 7 to 15 years on average to diagnose, PCOS 7 years. We're allocating dollars to research of endometriosis on how it affects the mental well-being of male partners, yet we don't have a way to definitively diagnose this without cutting into a woman. So tell me again where there isn't a discrepancy in how women are treated. Endometriosis excision surgery is reimbursed at lower, as if in contrast to male surgeries that are similar, like of the prostate, et cetera, et cetera. So there is a huge bias in how women are treated in medicine. I saw this really popular researcher in women's health, who I actually have a lot of respect for, and kind of this person that she talks to on the internet, and they were like, if your symptoms of perimenopause are mild, you shouldn't be on HRT. And I'm like, whoa. If a man walked into his doctor and said he just had a little bit of a limp dick, he would walk out of there with Viagra and testosterone in 5 minutes. Period. The
Yeah.
end. There's no doctor who would deny him, but women have to beg, plead, and barter to get hormone replacement therapy, and they're told it's just stress, you're just a mom, you're just so tired, you need stress management, are you sure you don't need therapy, you need an SSR? No, we shouldn't have to jump through hoops to receive the same level of care that our male counterparts do just because we're not missing a leg on one of our chromosomes. Like, that's insane to me. It's what, like, the fact that women are perpetuating that message of, if it's not that bad, like, don't bother, like, you don't need it. And, you know, what their message was in their defense was, you know, women need to be weightlifting and they need to be eating well. And yes, like, you cannot throw hormone replacement therapy on a metabolic dumpster fire. You can't. It's not going to go well. It's not going to fix problems. And there's actually can potentially, depending on the person, be more risk. So, but the discrepancy in how women are treated when they walk into an office, we have studies that show us that when women go to the doctor with their husband or their male partner, they get what they ask for more often than when they go by themselves. That is absolutely a disgrace, in my opinion. Like, what is 2026? What are we doing?
So, do you think there is a difference between kind of if you go and see a male doctor versus a female doctor? Do you think there's any difference there?
This is a hot topic. So, I will say this: when the women are bad, they're worse than the male doctors. 100%.
No.
Oh, like, I'm on birth control, you should just be on birth control. I suffered through it, so should you. Like, I mean, they're just, when the women OB-GYNs or PCP or whatever medical specialty that you're seeing, when they are dismissive, they are 10 times more dismissive than the men. And also, I think that men just don't get it. They don't get it. And there are some of them that try very hard, so I don't want to be dismissive of that either.
Yeah.
But, you know, unless you've lived through it with a woman, or you have lived through it yourself, or I just think it's really hard to get. I don't think that, like, that is a factor that we can be like, oh, if you see a woman, you'll have a much better experience. I would love to be able to say that. Not the case, unfortunately.
Because that's what, so I mean, I was in at the doctor's because I'd gone, I was like, I'm fatigued, just my brain fog, and I had long COVID, or still have long COVID, I guess, but those symptoms had kind of eased with that. And I thought, well, I'll go and speak to the doctor because I wonder whether it is perimenopause that's starting, and I wonder whether I do need to kind of explore that.
Yeah.
And I picked a female doctor because I was thinking,
Mm.
are they going to be more kind of open to, and she was fine, but it was a case of kind of, let's go and take bloods and we'll rule out anything else that's happening, first of all. So I mean, that's why I'm going back next week. This is really interesting that this conversation's happening now.
The interesting thing is, so many of these doctors are like, oh, well, look at blood work, and they check like 3 things. You know, they're going to check your CBC, your CMP, your lipid profile, a TSH if you're lucky, which is not a complete thyroid marker, and maybe a vitamin D, and a hemoglobin A1C if you're really lucky. That's
Yeah, so they
about
have checked
it.
for vitamins over here. Yeah, yeah.
That
And because I was asking whether, so over here they don't check hormone levels. I don't know whether they do check that over there or not.
So here's the thing that I want to say about hormone testing. Women are often denied it, and they're told, your hormones are too fickle, we can't test them. That is simply untrue. We have a lot of data and a lot of studies that are telling us what normal to optimal levels are. In fact, if you're a woman and you've been told this, go back and look at your lab report. It will say follicular phase, luteal phase, ovulation phase, and what those levels should be. So if your doctor is not telling you you need to test on cycle day this, or 5 to 7 days post ovulation, and they are just interpreting your labs blindly, that doctor has no idea what they are doing. They have no concept of hormones, and they should not be testing your labs. But this idea of, we can't test your hormones, it's so outdated and antiquated. It's just not accurate.
So over here they don't test it. They just
I
don't
mean,
test it.
women have to beg for it. I mean, the women who see me don't, but the women who go into their typical OBGYN or PCP, they're like,
Mm,
we don't need to test your hormones. Would you ever say that to a man who had a limp dick? Again, I'll bring it back to this. A man who goes into his PCP suffering with fatigue and limp dick, and I'm having a hard time putting on muscle, would you ever be like, we don't need to check your testosterone, you don't need hormone replacement therapy, just age naturally? It would never happen. It
yeah.
wouldn't. What are we doing? Like, what are we actually doing? And, you know, going back to your original question of, like, why does this what I'm doing make me a change maker? Because I'm fixing these problems for women. I'm optimizing their health. I'm giving them their fucking life back. You know, I had a girl, she On her consult call, she had seen her PCP, an immunologist, and an ENT. I talked to her for 6 minutes and I said to her, I know what's wrong with you and I know how to fix it. She had histamine intolerance and MCAS. And none of these doctors had even brought it up to her. She's 3 months into working with me and she was losing 7 days of her day 7 to day 14. She was knocked out. She just had a completely symptom-free cycle. I gave her a week of her life back with her kids. And these doctors just want to tell women like, oh, just take this steroid pack, just do this, just go on birth control, just take Miralax for the rest of your life. And it's like, why? What are we doing? It's absolutely insane to me. And we're putting Band-Aids on bullet holes in medicine is what we're doing.
Yeah, yeah. What was it that prompted you to do what it is that you're doing now? I mean,
Yeah,
obviously, like
great question.
it's clear that you are really passionate about it, but what kind of fired up that passion?
Yeah, so around 2018, 2019, I found on the World Wide Web of the internet, I found Dr. Jolene Brighton, who is a naturopathic physician. She's really well known for writing the book Beyond the Pill. And also, oh shit, what is her other book called? I have it here. She sent me an advanced copy. The name is escaping me right now, but both really, really excellent. She's a great follow. And I heard her talking about how this post-birth control syndrome, and I was like, birth control syndrome? Like, what does birth control do to you? I wasn't taught this in physician assistant school. And, she's talking about how it shuts down ovulation. You don't have a cycle. You need your hormones for your health. And I was like, huh, like, this makes a lot of sense to me. Like things just started clicking. And then, once you find something in your algorithm, for better, for worse, for richer, for poorer, it starts showing you more of that. So I started finding more women, who are talking all about this and talking about how your period is your period and menstrual cycle are a fifth vital sign. I was like, no one told me this in PA school. No one ever taught me. This is a non-knock to my program. I went to an excellent program. And also, why are we not teaching clinicians this? This is absolutely insane to me. And so I had an IUD at the time. I had the Mirena IUD. Your doctors will tell you that you still ovulate on this. Some women do. And also, I find that a lot of the times women who are put on an IUD, they're having heavy, painful, like all these problems, irregular ovulation. So I like to tell women, like, if you're already having problems with your cycle, putting an IUD in there, it's like asking your body to jump over additional hoops to make that bodily process happen. I find it happens a lot less, at least in my clinical experience with women, than the studies want to tell you or your traditional OBGYN wants to tell you. And so I took my IUD out. And that was a really wild ride. I put on 15 pounds very quickly. And that is part of coming off of birth control. Your body needs to feel like all these things, right? And I started liking music more again. I started having more sensitivity to smell. All of these things that you have receptors on every cell of your body for estrogen, for progesterone, for testosterone, which women also need. And birth control will mess with your testosterone levels too because of sex hormone binding globulin. And so when I came off of this, it's like a whole new personality came out. So, I learned about that and I was pissed. I was like, why are women not being told this? Why? This is the longest running, birth control is the longest running experiment that no one signed on a dotted line to be a part of. We have no data. Leaving women on this for years and decades. I have women coming 20, 30 years that they've been on
this is really interesting
about what it does to their health. We just went ahead and did it. Oh, you have ovarian cysts, take this, which birth control can cause ovarian cysts. You have acne, you have this, you have heavy periods, you have that. Birth control on everybody. And it's like it's like Jurassic Park. We never stopped to ask if we could, but we should have asked if we should. Where I don't know how Malcolm, what's his name?
Yeah, so you can do it, but it doesn't mean that you should do it. Yeah.
Could we actually, we are the longest running experiment. No one consented to this. We don't have the data. We don't have the studies. If you have been on birth control long term, and I will define that loosely right now as longer than 5 years, we don't have studies. Like, you are consenting to be in a research study, in my opinion.
I mean, I took birth control for quite a significant period of time, and I tried different ones, and I have a blood clotting factor, so I have to
Factor
be
5.
careful about what I. Oh yeah, so yeah, I have factor 5 Leiden. So I have to kind of be careful about what I take anyway. And I found out in my teenage years that I did have that because my mum had a thrombosis, and so we were tested. Me and her were
Yep.
both tested
Very common.
to check whether we carry this. Yeah. So and I found out from that it was like actually a large proportion of the population have this that actually
Yes.
don't even realize they have it. So
Correct.
I was aware that I had it, so that affected kind of what I took. How many people are taking birth control that don't actually know
How many
that
women
there
die
is
of
this?
blood clots and we just don't talk about it, right?
Yeah,
Why
yeah,
why
oh
do
yeah, yeah.
why do women have gallbladder disease at 3 times? I'm making up a number, but it's much more. I want to say it is close to 3 times as much as men. Do you know on the label for birth control there's a warning for gallbladder disease? Do you
Ah, I
know that
did
birth
not know
control
that.
is a class 1 carcinogen for liver cancer?
Mm, I didn't know that
Did
either.
any, it's like women aren't being consented about this. They're being told,
Yeah,
"Oh, you don't
yeah,
want to get pregnant. Oh, you don't want acne. Oh, you want regular periods," which you're not having a period on birth control. You're having withdrawal bleed because you're not ovulating, right? And so
yeah.
women are not being consented about this, and this is I can be deemed anti-birth control. I'm like, I do not care what people want to do with their bodies. As long as you are a consenting adult, you do you, and as long as you have the information to make an informed choice. But what is happening in a 6 to 7 minute visit, which is how long the average duration visit is with a PCP before a prescription gets thrown at them, consent isn't happening. So
No, and that is really interesting. Yeah. So, I mean, I know I took various different ones. So I'd had kind of the pill, I'd had the injection, but I found that like it was totally messing with me. So I made the decision to come off it because I was just like, this is totally messing with my head, and I couldn't figure out kind of what it was. And I was like, actually, I'm not sure I'm the nicest person to be around while I'm actually on this. So I took the decision to come off it, and I haven't taken anything for quite well, probably 10 years or more. And I just feel like kind of things are so much clearer. Although now I'm like, but then I'm going into, well, potentially starting kind of peri, and it's just like, oh, where's this going now? It's just like, and it is weird, isn't it? Because it's like I didn't want kind of birth control then, but actually I don't understand how hormones are affecting me. I knew it did have an impact on me, but I don't really fully
big
understand
impact.
it. And actually, I then don't understand kind of really where those changes and things as hormones change, what are those changes that are happening to me now, and actually what are my options and where do I start and what does it all. I feel kind of like I'm quite an
Loss.
educated person, but in terms of this, it's like, gosh, I feel a little bit stupid right now. That it's like I
Yeah.
don't have that information, that knowledge to actually know where to go, what to do, what my options are. It is kind of a bit kind of floundering, and I think that's why I do think that it is really important kind of what you're doing and educating people and raising that awareness so that essentially educated women understand what to do
Yeah.
essentially.
Yeah. I mean, if you think it would serve your audience, I can definitely go in and talk about like signs and symptoms of perimenopause and what that looks like, and kind of give some education and background about that, and just like an overview of hormone replacement therapy too, and kind of just like what that looks like, and maybe to help people advocate for themselves if that.
Well, I mean, it certainly
Yeah.
interests me, so
Yeah. And so I think, the first thing to understand is like this is not your fault. Like no one has ever taught you about this. If you're like, I have no idea what she's even talking about. Like so many, I've had women come to me who I'm like, you were in the throes of perimenopause, and they're still like, I don't know what the phases of my cycle are called, right? Like which one's the follicular phase, which one's the luteal phase, like when do I
oh, I
ovulate, right?
constantly have to double check it because I can never remember. And again,
Yeah.
it's only been in the last 12 months that's been even something that I've gone like, right, what actually does this even mean? So yeah.
Yeah. And so, I mean, perimenopause can start as early as 35. The average age for menopause, at least in the United States, I believe is between 51 and 52. I want to say it's 51.6 or something like that. And so, one of the things that I think is really important to know is you don't have to be skipping periods to be in perimenopause. You don't even have to be having cycle changes. I know for me, based on checking my labs and some of the symptoms, and because I pay close attention, I probably started having symptoms around 39. So you can have things like phantom smells, fatigue is very common, joint pain, frozen shoulder, um, low libido, tinnitus in your ringing in your ears. There's a whole like yeah, I mean there's just there are name a system of the body like rosacea can become very common in our 40s, which is a skin rash type of a skin rash diagnosis. Basically, there are so many things that can happen, and without being like my cycle hasn't changed, right? And so that a lot of the times women go to the doctors who don't have a high level understanding of what perimenopause is and what it does to our bodies, and they're like, but you're not having cycle changes, go away. And they're
And
suffering.
that was almost what stopped me, because I was like, well, that's
No,
I'm consistent there. There's not really a
doesn't
difference.
matter.
But like, I mean, all those things that you've listed for me, I mean, I'd kind of put a lot of those down to me having long COVID. But yeah, I mean, I've had tinnitus for years. I couldn't even tell you. I mean, I'd have said possibly when I was a student, but actually, I don't know when it started. So when you're kind of talking about all of these different things, it's like, wow, okay, I don't know. I've just put it down to kind of other things going on, but it could be.
Yeah, and just so you know, with the tinnitus, if that has been long standing, that is a big red flag for sleep apnea, is ringing in the ears.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, joint pain, poor focus, hot. People think like, oh well, I don't have hot flashes yet. Emotional lability, irritability, digestive issues, dizziness, vertigo, ocular migraines, like things that like if these things are getting worse, like runny nose that's new, heart palpitations is a big one. All of these things, right, that have nothing to do with our menstrual cycles and are so important for women to know, right? And so and we will start to see cycle changes, right? Like oftentimes women start to get shorter, they start to get longer. Sometimes ovulation kicks off earlier, or it kicks off later, and that's the thing, is that there's no real textbook for people's perimenopause journey. It can look different for every woman, depending on like, progesterone does decline before estrogen, but for some women testosterone declines first, and we need to replace that if they want to, right? I'm not saying that they have to, but it is an option. Where women are really, really struggling are in their 40s, 40 to 50, or once they get through perimenopause, they kind of do okay, even if they don't have hormones. Now, the risk stratification and health benefits of it, that's a whole other discussion, but women are suffering because they are being told by their doctors, you don't need hormones, just suffer it out like women before you, do it naturally, like you're just stressed, or like I think there's a statistic out there that says the prescription for SSRIs, which are antidepressants, anti-anxiety medications, very common, go up by like 200% with women in their 40s. They
Mm.
don't need SSRIs, they need hormones. They need
Yeah.
hormones. Like there's a reason why men's prescriptions aren't going up, because they're all on testosterone. Like I can't tell you how the ratio when I worked in conventional medicine of men who were on hormones as opposed to women, I would say it was 10 to 1 easily if I
Mm.
wasn't having the conversation and initiating it with them. Wild.
That is crazy.
It
That is
is.
crazy. Mm. So where do you see kind of obviously the work that you're doing, where do you see it going? Like how do you see this progressing? I know you said kind of there is a growing movement. Where would you like it to get to, and where do you think it's gonna go?
My work personally, or like HRT and perimenopause care, like if I had a magic wand and the system could do anything.
Well, go on then. If there was a magic wand and you could kind of say,
Yeah.
right, this is what I want to happen, what would you like to happen?
I mean, I would like for women to be listened to by their doctors and for them not to be gaslit. That is the magic one that I would want to see, and women being talked to and educated prophylactically about perimenopause, and for doctors to be screening for this, like, hey, at 35 being like, hey, perimenopause can start as early as 35. Do you feel like you're having symptoms? And I'm not saying asking about cycle changes everything, but ask about cycle changes, have a questionnaire, right? And it's just isn't possible in insurance-based models. It's not like the way that they are currently set up, right? And so I would love to see doctors having that conversation of are even taking the top 10 symptoms, which the top 10 symptoms of perimenopause: fatigue, brain fog, sleep issues, forgetfulness, anxiety, joint pain, poor focus, lack of concentration, hot flashes, libido. Are you having any of these? Like that's a real quick checklist. So
Yeah.
that would be really great if we at least had some type of screening going on for perimenopause and a pro hormone replacement therapy discussion, and screening women for, hey, is this safe and appropriate for you? And if it is, would you like to have a conversation about how this might benefit you? Like this should just, hormone replacement therapy is women's healthcare. And that is a huge chunk. We have a whole population of women. We now have retrospective studies from the Women's Health Initiative, which was a study that said, oh my God, estrogen causes breast cancer. It doesn't. We now have retrospective studies from women who were denied HRT. And it was like, I want to say the headline was like over 695,000 deaths that occurred unnecessarily because women were denied hormone replacement therapy. That's insane. And women are just out there suffering, and women are so good at putting their nose down, suffering through it, like, especially like the eldest daughter, highly functioning type A person who is just like, it's not that bad. I'll just get through it. I don't need to go to the doctor yet. And then when they do, when it gets so bad that women go to the doctor, they're met with this resistance of like, are you sure, sweetie? Are you sure it's not just in your head? Are you sure you don't just have stress? Are you sure you don't? And listen, I'm not saying that stress and stress management and all of I am a basics over biohacking girly. Like, we need to be eating well. We need to be not dieting. We need to be lifting weights. We need to be getting sunlight, getting off our phones. All of that is non-negotiable, right? And also, we still need to be taught, like, hormones are still a huge part. And I'm not, for someone who might be listening out there being like, well, what if I don't want to? Cool. Like, that's your choice. I still think that you deserve to be educated about it. And if you decide
I was going to say, it's the education and making that,
right
it's making that informed choice, isn't it? Do you think that this stuff should be taught in schools so that we understand, even from, because we talk about, like, I mean, certainly over here, it is talked about kind of, and actually there's still a division over here. Like, girls get taken out to have kind of the talk about periods and things like that, and the boys, although they get a basics of it within biology lessons, they don't get the full understanding. And actually, even when I talk about full understanding, it's probably not really, but we get taught about periods at least, but actually not necessarily about kind of all the hormones and how everything's like working and behaving behind it. But we don't get taught about how it interacts with us at the other end of our lifetime. But do you think that should be something that we are taught about in schools to get an understanding of this?
I go back and forth on this. Number one, because the average 8th grader is not going to remember probably about perimenopause once they reach that age, right? And so I'm not saying that means we shouldn't be educating about it, but the reason I'm hesitating is I just keep thinking, like, whose responsibility is it to teach us this? And I don't know that I have the answer for that. I don't know. I don't know. I think that, maybe in human anatomy and physiology, maybe this is something that could be taught better. And, for women to understand what their follicular phase is, what ovulation is, and the importance of ovulation. And I also think, is it our doctor's responsibility? Should there be health coaches in a doctor's office who can help explain this in a group setting? Is there, I mean, I have a ton of master classes available. I have, a perimenopause master class. I have a hormones and menstrual cycle 101 master class and things like that, where, like, should people just be responsible to educate themselves? I don't know. I think it is probably in all of the above, but I don't.
In terms of that kind of educating yourself, if you don't know what you don't know, you're not going to know to even go and look for it, are you?
Right. Yeah. And so, I go back and forth. The problem that I run into when people ask me questions like this of who should be teaching us this is the logistics of who's funding it, how are we doing it, how are we getting it into, like, so many people's hands, right? And I think the schools could do a better job, right? Sex education in schools sucks. I live in Utah where it's Mormon land, and it's like there is abstinence is the only option. Like, they wear sex pajamas, for God's sakes. I have a really good friend who is a really big hormone doctor, and she's like, yeah, I grew up in Kentucky. I got the football coach who was like, put the P in the V. Like, that was literally that was it. And so I think that it's multifactorial. I think, yes, it can be done better in schools. I think doctors need to be, even if it's a fucking 3-fold brochure that doctors are handing out about, hey, like, here's some education on perimenopause, right? Because even though I'm sick and tired of hearing, oh, but these doctors only have so much time. I did that job for 10 years. I worked in family practice. I understand, and I still found a way. So, like, I don't care anymore about that because it is so abysmal. that like
Yeah.
spend 10 minutes of your time and create a brochure. Ask the institution where you live, Kate, do we have any perimenopause? Even if it's not optimal information, at least then women go, oh, I didn't even know I was old enough to be in perimenopause. Let me go talk to the internet. And listen, I'm not saying that like going down Reddit feeds is the best idea either. And also, at least it gives someone agency to be like, oh, I didn't even know. Like, maybe I should think about this. Maybe I should look for a book or a podcast or, whatever. It just at least plants the seed. And like I talked about my client earlier, it took me I'm not even kidding you, because I looked at the timer, 6 minutes on her consult call. She had not even signed on to work with me as a client, and I knew what was wrong with her because I asked her the right questions. So it's multifactorial is my answer, which I realize is really boring.
No, yeah. But no, I think it is important. I do. And it's interesting actually when you're saying about like the medical professionals over there and they say they haven't got time, and that's quite interesting because obviously it's been paid for over there, isn't it? Whereas over here it's like, I mean, the NHS is under strain. There really isn't enough time. Like it's not a paid for practice, whether it's insurance or paying or however. It is just open for us, and I guess I'd kind of almost thought that like, yeah, okay, I appreciate that it's tight because it's a free at the kind of point of service system over here. Whereas I guess I'd just assumed that in the US that time would have been made because it has been paid for.
I know orthopedic surgeons who see 50 patients in an 8-hour day. When I was on the low end because I refused. I was like, I won't do it. Fire me. I don't care. I mean, I was seeing 20 to 25 people a day, and my supervising physician was seeing 35 to 40 in an 8-hour day. I mean, do that math. And they have to document and all of these other things. It's really something. That my friend Brenna uses that phrase, and I'm like, it really applies to a lot of it's really something. And I get it. I get when people come at me on the internet a lot and they're like, oh, but the providers are doing the best that they can. And are they? Because they're not learning new information. They're still talking about 2002 studies. They're still dismissing women. So are they doing the best that they can? I got questions about that. And I know that there are good ones out there. I know that there are. And also, I have now worked in 3 years with over probably 500 women, and they all say the same thing to me. I was dismissed. I was gaslit. I was thrown pills. I was told that I was stressed. Like, it's the same story over and over again. So how many good ones are there out there?
I guess they are there. It's just that there needs to be more, I guess, ultimately, doesn't there?
I mean, in my personal opinion, the whole system with our government needs burned to the ground, which like we just need to commit arson.
I would say I'm not passing any comments about the.
I mean, just burn it all down. My God, it's such a. You haven't balanced the budget in like 100 years. What are we doing here? If I don't pay anyway, getting out of the perimenopause realm. I didn't mean to, but if I had it my way, I would burn the whole healthcare system down and restart it because I just don't hear a whole lot of good and I realize I'm in an echo chamber in a silo, and I'm, my Instagram feed and the women that I see, and I get that. And every once in a blue moon, I do get a person who says, I have a really great PCP, and I'm like, I'm so happy about that for you. But the bar is also so low that like women will say to me, like, she actually like listened to me. And I'm like, yo, homies, like that is not a standard. Like that's the bare minimum. No, and so it's yeah, that is definitely is not the case that like when you go to see a doctor in the United States that you get a lot of time with your doctor, physician assistant, nurse practitioner, whatever.
I feel like we probably should have clarified this at the beginning, but PCP, that's primary care practitioner, isn't it?
Primary care, general practitioner, family practice, all interchangeable terms. Yeah, sorry. I should have
No. I understood it, and then I mean I watch a lot of like medical dramas here as well. Anyway, so it's like I feel like I'm familiar with the terms just because of the TV that I take on.
I've been watching Grey's Anatomy for 26 years. I'm a doctor.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Totally. Yeah. Love Grey's Anatomy. Yeah. No, that's fine. So, kind of, if for people who are listening, if this is something that they're interested in, like, what would be your kind of top tips to kind of take on board from what it is that you do?
So are you looking for tips about how to manage hormone symptoms, manage perimenopause, talk to your doctor,
Any of the
all of the
above.
above? Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm going to try to keep it to 5 things, right? So, and I'm going to lump like 5 things into one to like make it under 5 things. The first thing is nail your foundations. Eat enough food, stop dieting is included in that. I see so many women who have been on the rabbit hole of trying to be as small as possible for so long. Like, you are not going to build muscle that way. And muscle is an organ of longevity. We need it. So eat enough food, get enough protein, eat enough plants, eat a diverse plate, don't cut your carbs, eat like a grown ass adult that you are, right? Like, don't eat like your toddler. That's the first part of that. Sleep is non-negotiable. So do whatever you have to do to get 7 to 9 hours of sleep on the regular. Put your phone away.
I would like to say I napped this morning because I needed some sleep.
I
So
love
I had a
that.
nap.
I love that. Put your phone away. Have boundaries with technology. One of the biggest things that I harp on with my clients is don't bring your phone in your bedroom. Your phone should never ever come into your bedroom. Sleep with it outside, and people will be like, "Oh, but I need an alarm clock." They sell those on Amazon. Number 3, lift weights. Lift weights and stop doing endless cardio. That is a huge one. Huge, massive. If you have never done a good weightlifting program in your life, like, please, 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 for the love of your bones, start now. Because if you suffer a hip fracture over the age of 65, you have a 25% risk of death. And yes, I said that correctly. That is a real statistic. I still remember the day I was sitting in PA school and like my mind just blew out like all over the walls. Walk, get regular movement in, get sunlight. All of those, go do the basics. The foundations are boring. They're boring to talk about. They're not fun to hear. If you do them, you're going to be healthier and you're going to be better off for it. Number 2, you can fire your doctor. You can leave. Like, you don't have to stay with the same shitty care that you've been getting if you are in a position where you've been gaslit or you feel like you haven't been getting the care that you deserve. I don't know who from wherever is listening to this, but I don't care if you're insurance or cash pay, like, you can leave. And you can advocate for yourself too. You can say things like, I'd really like to see someone else in the practice and get a second opinion about this because I feel like we're not aligning on it. And this, if you're asking for lab work and things that you feel are important for your health, this is kind of the last straw that I like to pull because I don't like to be this way. But if you're asking for really reasonable things, saying things like, I would like you to document in my chart that you're unwilling to order tests that I'm concerned about my health and my body for, and then I would like you to print out that documentation and hand it to me. I don't love to go that route, but if you have someone who, sometimes people need a wake up call. And so that's a big one. For perimenopause, I feel like I should be giving, like, all the basics are so big for perimenopause. I'm going to say test your hormones. Get a really good blood panel. I have a freebie. Maybe I can like send you the link. It's for like my labs checklist of things, because I really feel, and I know, and it's not I feel, I know that women are not getting comprehensive blood panels done. And so, check your fasting insulin, check your estrogen, your progesterone. Start doing that. If you're in your 20s, check it now so you know what's normal when you feel good, right? Get your labs checked is going to be a big one for perimenopause. Boundaries. Have boundaries. I was a mental health therapist before I was a PA, and I bring this work into everything that I do. And so, saying no is a complete sentence. It's okay to say no. And if it doesn't set your soul on fire, it's a good idea to say no. That's for, trying to think of, like, poop every day. Like, if you're not pooping daily, get that looked at. That's how we excrete toxins, and that's actually how we excrete excess estrogen too. A lot of women have like excess estrogen type symptoms, and so if you're not pooping daily, like, talk to someone, me, who can do a comprehensive stool test for you and work with you about that. And some really basics for gut health: take a deep breath before you eat, chew your food 20 to 30 times, and no scrolling on your phone. And put your fork down and put your utensil down in between bites. If you do those 3 things, I almost guarantee your digestion will improve. Those are my big.
Put your fork down between bites. Oh wow, okay.
I call it double forking. So like if you're chewing and then you're still shoveling. Huh?
So I'd wait until my mouth's empty before I put the next thing in, but I guess there's just that extra pausing time by putting your fork down. Okay.
Yeah, so that's everybody's homework.
I'm definitely gonna re-listen to that bit. I just need those tips there.
Mm-hmm.
Just need them on repeat every morning, I think.
And drink water. I would say like hydrate well. Like
Well, I'm forever being lectured to drink water because I know I don't drink enough. Like everybody tells me I don't drink enough, so
there's actually like a weird situation where you can actually create weight gain for yourself if you dehydrate, because your body will start to suck water into your fat cells and to hydrate itself.
Okay, that's interesting.
Fun fact.
Yeah, no, that is really interesting. So if anyone wants to kind of find out more about kind of the work that you do, how to get in touch with you, where's the best place to find you?
Yeah, so if you really want a good idea about who I am and what I do, and if you feel like we're a good fit, Instagram is where I hang out the most. I'm just at Danielle.Kepics. Last name is spelled Ke as in Edward, P as in Paul, ICS as in Sam. I have a website. It's empoweredmindbody.co, not .com, so empoweredmindbody.co. And I do have a Substack. You can find that through my Instagram. And I also have a podcast. It's called Strong and Unfiltered. And you can definitely get a real good. I mean, I am who I am. Like this is pretty much it. But if you feel like you need more clarity, those are the places to go.
Oh, super. Well, we'll make sure that we share the links to all those as well anyway. And obviously the one question that I ask everybody that comes on, have you got a fun fact or something interesting that might surprise people about you?
2021, I solo backpacked the John Muir Trail. So the John Muir Trail is a part of the Pacific Crest Trail. It's over 200 miles, like 43,000 feet of elevation gain. So
Wow.
that was quite the feat. It was really, really incredible. I feel like that's a pretty random. It's hard to get a permit for that. So it's, hard to meet people it's like 1% of people who apply get a permit. So I got really, really lucky.
Wow.
It was
amazing.
Yeah, it was really, really cool. I don't know. It was some of the most beautiful scenery I love Yosemite National Park. It's one of the most beautiful places that I personally have ever seen.
So what prompted you to do that?
I like to be outdoors anyway. I like to hike. I like to backpack. And somebody mentioned it one day and I go, what's this? And then I just decided I was going to do it because it was like the same way I started my business.
Why not? Yeah.
It was like, oh, this looks like, and I didn't have any, my boyfriend he couldn't do it with me at the time. And like, he couldn't take the time from work. And I didn't really have any friends at the time who would do it. And I was like, well, I want to do it. So I'm going.
No, hats off to you. That's amazing.
It was really cool.
Amazing.
You can do it over like long spans too. I did it over like 14 days, which was really rough. If I did it again, I would do it like over 21 days. I would take my time.
Yeah.
And I would totally
do it again. Wow. Okay. Fair enough.
Oh my God. I would 100% go back again. Any day.
Cool. Well, Danielle, thank you so much for joining me. It's been an absolute pleasure to kind of have a chat. And I feel like the time has just kind of whizzed by. And I feel like there's so much more that we could have gone into as well.
I hope it's helpful for people.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure it will. Well, it's been helpful for me. So as I said at the beginning, kind of changing the world for one person, it makes a difference, doesn't it? So thank you so much. And we'll make sure everything gets shared. I'll be definitely sure to go and check out kind of some more information about you and everything that you do, because I think it's certainly going to serve me anyway.
Great. Thanks so much.
Thank you for tuning in to this episode of Changemakers with Eleanor. I hope you're leaving as inspired as I am. If today's story has sparked something in you, remember it's never too late to start making a difference. Whether it's writing that book you've always dreamed of, stepping up in your community, or starting that campaign you're passionate about. If you enjoyed our time together, please consider giving us a rating and review on your favourite podcast platform and share this episode with someone who could use a little inspiration. Your support helps us to reach more changemakers just like you. Join me, Eleanor, in the next episode for another deep dive into the stories of those who dare to dream big. Until then, be your greatest. See you next time.